I'm Mr. Brzezinski, and this is a speedy little walkthrough of these OnePrep.xyz questions. They used to come from Blue Book and from their little data bank that they have, but I think they've probably gotten into trouble for that, so they've got these preppy little questions. So I think they're going to all be fresh to me, which is super duper exciting. And this is conventions only. Players. That's all that we're living in right now, testing out the Omega consideration on this new wave. We've got verbs, both singular, both singular. I don't know who the odd man out is. Let's just throw down some future. We're going to assume this is a shifts in verb tense question. So by the time the safety addicts began ejecting to the flame, the custom had been. So we're in the past, so it's got to be him. I look at my verbs, and again, I've got a little neither, and one that has tense. Maybe the other one's like a bare infinitive. We're going to read the surrounding text, thinking it shifts in verb. Forming a clause or parallel structure. Instead of maintaining a fast pace, they slow down when they need to catch. We need the infinitive, just the forming a clause idea. Checking here, I'm going to bias this one beauty. I've got a complete sentence on the right side, and I've got a one on the left, so that's going to be a complete sentence. This is going to be a misplaced modifier idea. I see a whole bunch of words swapped around, so we go to the start of the sentence and see what we've got. In examining the novels, we have somebody who's doing the examination. We've got admiration, which is going to be it. I like the idea of scholars. It's not going to be contributions. There is going to be a dummy subject, so it's going to be him. We've got pronouns. We're going to uncontract our contractions like they are neighboring territories, so that's absolutely going to fall. B and D, they're not going to be contractions. It's going to be either A or C, like it's the New Mexico. Oh, this is a misplaced modifier plugged in. I know what this is by looking here. Territory singular as told by this, so it's going to be Charlie. We've got pronouns again. I assume that it's going to be the it. I'm going to go looking for an antecedent. The immune system is built to defend the body so much that due to a hypersensitive response called an allergy. Yeah, we're with the immune system. It's already told us that. I'm looking here. Got my beauties, a complete sentence mix-up. We have the Empire State Building is even taller. The Chrysler Building is one of the taller. Absolutely. We have a complete sentence on either side. Singular, singular, both that. Let's go for harnesses. I think it's either going to be C or D. Initial ideas, shifts in verb tense. Washington choices were notable given the men's conflicting ideologies, but scholars. So we've got our first clause, which is in the past, but scholars have recognized the wisdom of this move, observing that Washington harnessed their difference to create a balance. We're absolutely in the past there. I am singular, both singular, future. Ooh, we just had a past, so let's go future as our initial this. Whoops. In 1985, a gas line ruptured in the air. I'm reading the entire sentence to make sure it's not some sort of weird forming a clause question. We've got triggered there, absolutely. We have one beauty, so we're going to bias C. We've got a subject and a verb over here. Let's look to the left side, and we absolutely do. The answer is going to be C. We have beauty, not going to be this. Ooh, this is going to be a weird little mix-up. I see that we have a name and a title, but we're not there on lung. Oh, it is. X title name is going to be on lung function. Oh, just kidding. It's not. Let's slow down for a moment. This is the name. Physician is all that we've got. We don't have anything here. Beyond his studies on the impact of air pollution, traffic noise, and industrial waste on lung. Wow, this is all a clause initial participial phrase. It's going to be this one. If we ran down the gamut, we don't have a complete sentence on the left, so those two fall, and then you guys would just be like, man, I paused there, and that's all that we need to secure the bag on that one. This is going to be the right answer. Modern electric vehicles offer subject and verb. The extraction of lithium requires. We have a complete sentence on either side. Move us on to the next one. Singular, singular, plural. That's going to be the answer. I want to catch up some time and flex a little. So we're going to throw ourselves into that one. Oof. I'm going to guess that is the answer because that's the weirdest one, but I'm going to check for a complete sentence on either side. We have transition. Is this Omega consideration? Other sources of inspiration were far older. That is a complete sentence. Many used were adapted. There's my verb over here. So we have a complete sentence on either side. So I'm going to assume it's this one. Do I just want to blind pick it? Oh, man, I don't want to mess up. Let me take a moment to think. Other sources of inspiration were far older. So if this is the right answer, there would be contrast here, but I'm going to check 2 and 3. Other sources of inspiration were far older. Many of the used instruments were adapted from. Yeah, so this is going to be between the first and second, so that's going to be the right answer. All I had to do was check 2 and 3, though. We have such a weird little guy. This is our lone beauty. If we trust the strats, it would be the right answer, and it absolutely is. So we had a complete sentence to the left and a complete sentence on the right. All the other ones were doing something wrong. This is going to be a misplaced modifier idea. By absorbing, we need something that's absorbing. Preservation, shorelines, preservation. A and C are the same, so it's not going to be it. Both of these things have been preserved by absorbing, have been preserved by the shoreline. Shorelines have all of this. I read D, and D telling me that it was a shoreline gave me the information that it was the thing doing the thing. I would immediately throw myself into C, but let's look. Oh, it's not going to be C because this would be saying contrasted in the sentence before, so it's not going to be that. I'm checking for a complete sentence on either side. It does not appear that the green, or this model seems to wait, so this is going to be the answer. What a fun one. we've got possession, so we can cover this up. We've got plural stars, singular stars. You creep in from the right side of the word that's there is it and alone. So stars, evolution. I like the concept of possession there, so it's not going to be deep. But now the parameters that govern stars. This is a relative clause, so I don't want anything possessive here, so he's gone. So it's one of these two ideas. Let's see how many stars that we have. To comprehensively understand the life cycle of a star requires handling each of 4 parameters that govern their. What an interesting question. A star, and each of 4 parameters that govern stars. Boys. So yeah, we have to have this one. So there was no article there. I had to pause for a moment because while I'm talking, it's rare to use that skill, but that there was no article like an a, an, or the, or his took me away from the singular one. What a fun idea. So, am I going to have a complete sentence on either side? We run through the Omega considerations. There are 2 beauties. We run through. There is no semicolon. Oh, there is a semicolon. Semicolon, and he needs a partner. Easy every time. Dead air. Plural, both. Plural. Removed to design. That removed harmful to design. Let's do shit. Might be used. For this reason, researchers are currently investigating ways to use this. Is probably going to be a shift in verb tense or forming a clause. For this reason, researchers are currently investigating ways to use this species in environmental cleanup. Oh, that is a period. Might be used, for example, to design natural filtration fire that remove. So we have might, which is a hypothetical. Are removing. Always pick the simple unless you find a clause that's going to point you in that direction. We are going to check the text for another semicolon. I don't see one. I see that there's an A and lauded by both. This is a passive voice, so we're going to put a comma here because this is a clause initial positive. Singular, both. Let's go for the future. Let's read the surrounding text. Yeah, so we do want a verb that tells us when. In 1955, helped spark the Montgomery bust. So this is going to be a shifts in verb tense question. Organized as a coordinated protest in response to arrest. Rich had, all I need is the simple past, which was beginning earlier that December. Whoa, pause for a moment. So they picked the last month, which had begun earlier that December. In 1955, civil leader Rosa Parks helped spark the organized as a coordinated protest in response to her arrest, which had begun. Yeah, we just want the simple past. I was just making sure that there wasn't a little bit of a phrase there. Reading comprehension while talking out loud can be difficult. We've got a both. We've got neither, plural, neither. Decided to adopt is going to be it. Surprisingly, over 20 U.S. senators decided to adopt square dancing. What a cringe answer. This is going to be the answer. I'm going to check for a complete one beauty, the complete sentence mix-up. I've got one on the left and I've got one on the right. Let's move to the next one. We have a semicolon in the surrounding text. I don't see one. That means B and C are equal. Comma making. It's got to be. We have, weird. Neither. Relative clause inspired. It's going to be this one because we need a verb that tells us when. I would assume her experience as an outdoor education instructor and leadership of the first female group to hike the entire length of the Appalachian Trail inspired her to establish a program that helps. Yeah, we need a verb that tells us when in this. Come on. This is going to be the right answer, but we are... Why are these all blank? Hold on. Oh, it's saying I was too slow? I thought I was fast on all of those. So I'm going to check for complete sentence. Prior to the assemblies on constructing a recueil required, yeah, it's definitely going to be this. There was a complete sentence on the right, so I know that the left side's going to be 1, 2. Given the shapes, had, both prepares. Let's go there. Like other hibernators, the bear needs to store energy for the winter. So during the autumn month, this is a coordinated conjunction, so we're allowed to have a verb that tells me when. So it probably is going to be this. Isn't going to be this, I mean. So during the autumn month, it prepares. I know that we're going to be in the present, even though bears have been doing this because we've got our needs. Argue, having argued. This is probably going to be the right answer. Some verb that tells us when. Some economists argue. We've got a dependent clause. Was the direct? Yes, absolutely. I think I remember that question. I think this is going to be the answer. Complete sentence mix-up. I'm going to check the left side. Marcus Johnson wanted to boost. He established. Absolutely. We have a complete sentence on the other side, so we're going to run that one. The answer is probably it because the rest of these are plural. Sediment is but the friction from the riverbed and obstructions from submerged logs together cause it. But the friction cause it. Propelled southward by fast currents. But friction from the riverbed and obstruction from submerged logs together cause sediment to say, yeah, sediment is the it. I am just making sure that I'm still recording. I had this weird lack of being able to see red on the top left corner, which was kind of awkward. I think there's a complete sentence on the other side, so I'm going to pick him. Oh no, because we got and can provide, so it's probably just the bridge idea. We've got the biography, can provide, and the thing below describes the thing before. So that's one where a blind pick on the beauty would have been wrong, but we always check to see if there's a complete sentence on either side. I like the way the semicolon is looking. Woof, there is no other semicolon, so it's certainly not going to be him. To the left side, his syncopated compositions revolutionized. We want to be attached to the object. We're not, this is a verb that needs a direct object, so we're not going to break it up with anything. Why isn't it down here? What's happening? What's happening? It says I have a streak of 33. Plural, both. Let's do a shifts in verb tense. And during that spring, floodwaters covered approximately. They even submerged. That's going to be it. Wonder. They don't want me to win, I guess. That's okay. I don't need to have the validation of green things on the bottom. That would be goofy if I needed to feel good about myself for that reason. I'm going to check the surrounding complete sentence makes up two beauties. Move on to step 2. Check the surrounding text for another dash. I don't see another dash, but I did see a comma up there. A and C aren't equal, so it's not going to be A or C. It's either B or D. The National Service developed a management strategy that protected. Absolutely. I'm reading over that bridge and everything sounds good. Have, remain, remains. Let's trust the strat. We pick the odd man out. 2 recommending. I imagine it's going to be recommends. Agrees it recommends an improved technique. Absolutely. We need a verb that tells me when. That's forming a clause. Designating or designated. It's going to be one of these when it's clause initial. We need a participle. I could tell that because it's going to be capitalized. The garden designated. Designated, it was done by someone else, so we need the reduced passive form, which is the past participle. Designating, this one would mean that it's designating itself, kind of. We've got one of the easiest ones. We have singular son, plural, singular. Sun. Due to the sun do be sunnage. There's a bug in here. Unbelievable. We've got plural, one, them, it. I guess I would pick it. Then I'm going to read the text looking for the antecedent. To enhance comfort, the company updated the design of the classic boot, padding several of the upper stiff section, making the, this is like the violin question. We want just the boot. If it just one, it would weirdly parse out as if the boot itself was it. Plural, singular. I should be a little less cocky, because what if I were wrong one time? The subject was there. Stand, have, stood, where standing stands. A landmark is our subject. A landmark of civic pride. The landmark that stands. Yeah, absolutely. This is our right answer. Theories that lack of. We've got 2 buttes. We'll move on. Wow, this is weird. Identifying the precise source of migraine headaches has proven challenging because, subordinate clause, there is no definitive evidence for any of the suggested theories. Common and coordinating, and the lack of, we just have 2 things in a list, and the lack of a reliable, so there is no definitive evidence for any of the suggested theories, because there is the lack of. Yeah, we just have a list of 2 things. We have, bridges, colons, beauties everywhere. Move on to step 2. I don't know even what I would do to do this. So we're starting a clause here with this that. Dr. Garcia recently discovered that citrus fruits, crops that include the orange, lemon, and lime, crops that include, yes. So this is going to be a list of things that describe citrus fruits, and then we read over it to answer citrus fruits do this. We don't ever put include colon on the SAT. This would mean that citrus fruits are merely crops, but the citrus fruits that include, so that means others that don't. Easy peasy. We are going to, it's not going to be these. We're going to check the text for a semicolon. It's not, I see an although at the start of the sentence, so we're going to hit it with a comma there. A and C were equal. D was the colon, but we didn't have a complete sentence to the left. I'm going to bias this guy. According to audience, the Ross is brought. I have a complete sentence on the right. I could have blind picked this sucker, but I don't want to make a mistake, but hey, it'll never go wrong. C and D are equal unless I can find a semicolon. I do have a semicolon, but I'm early in it, so I want to make sure that I don't have a complex list. This is the 3rd thing in the list. If I move 1 step back, this is the 2nd thing in the list. So he does need a buddy. We'll pick him. Attempted or attempting will attempt. I think it's going to be either A or C. Let's find a when. Researchers with a team of the researchers in his laboratory that could be used. Thomas Edison played a major role in the development. Past, working with the team of this researchers in his laboratory. Attempted. We didn't bring it back to life, so it ain't gonna be no future. Those, that, any, this. I would assume it's gonna be those. Let's find an antecedent. Patricia Smith released 12 short stories in her collection, Evening Tales by the Lake, 5 years before our time, making those the concluding works, making that the concluding works of her decades long. Making that, okay, so it's a collection. Making this the concluding works, making that. Oh, These demonstrative pronouns are always so weird. Making any, it's not this. Making those, the concluding works. No, it's going to be those. I'm torn between B and D, so it's absolutely A. It's not referring to it. It's the works, the thing after it. What an easy resolution. Looking here, neither, no. It's going to be helped. I think it's going to be like that question we saw a couple ago, where there's going to be this huge, long subject, and we throw something in at the end. Her powerful service dominated the court, and her aggressive strategy, rushing that revolutionized the way that some women's game, that the way in which, so this is a dependent clause. I need my independent clause on the left, so it's absolutely her. Glide, or gliding, we're gliding. Glides. Glides is going to be it. He glides. No. Both singular, neither. This, to explore, looks pretty cute because it's the odd man out, but we're going to read this. In her moving documentary project, Stories from the Borderlands, Texas, filmmaker Marisol Rivera uses digital media to explore. Yeah, it's the odd man out here. We want the infinitive. If I didn't feel so secure in that, I would have read deeper. I should read deeper. C is probably the right answer. I think that there's a complete sentence on it. I thought its scope is therefore more limited. A novella. Whoops, cringe. I have an independent clause on either side. Bias him by producing a series of sketches. We do have a complete sentence on the left. Oof, we've got a dependent clause where she visited, traveled through. Absolutely have a complete sentence on either side. It involves, they involve, one involved, these involve, it involves, they involve. What's the antecedent? American Quilt is regarded as a groundbreaking artist, designing hundreds of story quilts as well as narrative quilting, the most widely recognized of her innovative methods. Her methods involve stitching. Hold on. American Quilt is regarded as designing hundreds of story quilts as well as narrative quilting. Designing as well as narrative quilting, the most widely recognized of her innovative method, resulting in quilt. They involve. Narrative quilt, it involves, is narrative quilt. Narrative quilting involves stitching together. Yeah, that's my antecedent there. Check me, boys. Ooh, mood. How soon could such a flare occur? And what will it mean? What will it mean for modern technology? We're asking a question. My bias is going to go down to, do I have another dash? I don't have a dash in the surrounding text, so A and B are equal. I think it's going to be the space. Don't separate a subject from a verb with a lone comma. Rafael Cortez assembled. Absolutely don't separate subjects and verbs with lone commas. Semicolon, I'm going to check the text for a semicolon. I don't see one, therefore. There is no therefore. Oh, we've got a list. And what influences? I got a list of two things. Because I don't see another comma, so I think it's going to be this. The team was able to identify how genetic variations manifest among populations, and the team was able to identify how genetic variants manifest among populations and identify what influence it exerts. So we have a list of two things, so we're not going to put a comma there. My immediate choice is this because there's one beauty. Expanding your creative art, Ellis is noted. Worked in several formats. We have a complete sentence on the other side. Absolutely. Singular, plural, singular. Scroll is singular. Gorgeous. They both will have. Participate is probably going to be it. They are just two of the many amateur observers who have participated in the program. Oh, so who participated. You always pick the simple aspect unless you have some sort of phrase that tells you to choose something grander. And that is my something grander. Plural, singular. That's all were in singular. The rest were plural. I was just repeating that because it was obnoxious and it felt good to do. A misplaced modifier, noting that the visible mass of these galaxies is insufficient to generate the gravity needed to retain these stars. So we want like a person. Researchers do this. Proposals don't do this. The halo doesn't do this. The answer is A because that's the only one that's doing the clause initial adjunct in what? Oh, something weird. Wait a second. I'm on to it. Okay, so those all loaded. Oh, this is my upcoming cue. Okay, next. Oh, wait. Was that the one I was on? Okay. To believe is the odd man out. The discovery says that this animal held special status in his community, and historians believe. Yeah, so we have two clauses. This comma and is joining two complete sentences, so I need that. Am I on question 70? I have no idea how to navigate these things. It looks like I'm on this one. It's in progress. All right, fine. I don't. That just takes me back. Okay. I'm triggered. That's okay. I'll get over it. So, I like this comma which right off the rip. which investigates how Eckenbrand's treat and treats. This list features on sunset and treats. No, the bridge should end after treats because this, how they respond to these things, that's going to be the right answer, which is how this colon is discussing, just like what I said a few times ago, so it's going to be him for sure. Regardless of they are movements, regardless of there, that's the wrong there. Cyclists, regardless of, I almost just clicked him. No, because in C, what is it possessing? Common and coordinating conjunction. What do we have on the right side? Dave gave, absolutely. While, so this is a subordinate clause, so we just want our little comma. Make sure nothing weird happens there. Now it's like beefing with me. We are going to bias this guy. We're going to check for a complete sentence on the left side. We do not have one. To capture the authentic rhetoric that is characteristic of his designs, comma, so we're going to do this one. He does this. I don't know what the though would be contrasting in B. We don't have a complete sentence on either side. I'm going to check the text for a I'm going to check is this all one sentence? Check the text for a semicolon. I do not see a semicolon, therefore A and B are equal. Then, I know this question. 5,000 years earlier than was previously thought of finding that. Absolutely. If you guys, you would just pause there. Plural, 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 singular. That's going to be the right answer. Thank goodness. I'm going to find another dash, but I see another dash there, so it's probably not going to be, this and this are the same. I noticed it's a name title question, so I'm not going to put anything between the name and the title. We have the mingling of those skills, neither, both, singular, 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 neither. I think it's going to be this theory asserting that crops, such as this, that crops flourish without a cannot be accepted. Whoa, player. Neither, both, singular, singular. So I think this is a question from the hard section. I'm really going to pause here because there's all this yap. This theory, asserting that crops, such as flourished, such as that, this theory, asserting that crops flourish without irrigation system, this theory cannot be accepted. Yeah, so we don't want a verb that tells me when, and that refutes the left. The other ones, cannot was the modal verb, the verb that tells me when or expresses modality, right? That's why it says shifts in verb tense, or modality could be a concept. That was relating to the main subject, and then assuming started a relative clause with that was there. Whew, those questions are so exciting. We've got one beauty. Let's check for a complete sentence. On the left, is home to the painted desert region. Land for so vast an area that it seems the colorful, yes. So then we've got some sort of descriptive element to the right side, an adjunct. Boost or boosting, boost. This is a singular subject. We read over this little bridge and we've got a convention. A convention is singular, so we're good there. We have one beauty, two beauties. Do we have a complex list? But now we want to make sure that we're inside the list. This is the final thing in the list. This is the second thing. Yeah, that's where a colon would go if it were to go there. So let's be careful. What's different between these two? Let me just pause for a second because it's piano lesson. I'm using this last one to ground myself. Piano lesson. Fences, comma, piano lesson, comma, is the thing that describes it. I don't want to get lost. This would be so frustrating if I made a mistake here. I'm assuming this is the lone beauty. We're going to have a complete sentence on either side. So the team's analysis reveals the opposite. Absolutely reveals had, I thought it said though for a moment. That would have been so exciting. Had thought. Next. I think the answer is going to be this. I'm going to check each side for a complete sentence. They were not the first in the country to experiment some expressive form of this genre. Some pioneers had also drawn, of similar surface. The contrast is absolutely between sentence 1 and 2 because 2 and 3 are agreeing on those ideas. Encountered, and encounters, and it will be encountered. I think it's going to be encounters. We are looking for a verb that tells me when. Nature are central to the novels. I like the are. And then it's a story. It's going to be this. Connects the character. Encounters. Yeah, so we are in a story. So even if a story is in the past, we're going to be in the present there. I like this lone beauty here. Lauding his profound command of color and form. Art critic. We've got a complete sentence on the left. Now let's look at the right side. Gain fame. Absolutely. I have complete sentences on either side, and that's the only way to join one. Bias here. Participant we want to join in. Can. Good. Another modal verb. There he gets to reinforce it. Participants who want to join in can find incantation. We've got a complete sentence on either side, so this is going to be our answer. We love the beauties. Complete sentence on either side. Usually, extensive wear and tear on your lowest the collector's worth, but then this is a dependent clause, but I assume when the jersey was worn by such icon like MJ, the dress mark can make, so we do have a complete sentence on either side. The right side is actually a complex sentence, which is pretty darn exciting. I'm going to go looking for a dash because that would be pretty chill. We do have a dash here. Let's read over the dashy poo bridge. When chemical data isn't accessible, researchers resort to typology to date. Absolutely. I'm just making sure that nothing weird is happening with that parenthetical expression. My eyes immediately go to this semicolon. I do not have another semicolon in the text, so B and D are equal. The symposium's aims are threefold. Yes, so threefold period. That is a complete sentence. It doesn't take a direct object, so we have this list that elucidates it. But all that a colon has to do is the right side has to exemplify the left side. It doesn't have to be a list. I accidentally read the text first. Guarantees is going to be it. Cultivating these. So even though that's plural, cultivating is our subject. Let's keep cruising. It was the odd man out idea as well. Let's just believe that it's the odd man out idea again. Comma. Ooh, we have two beauties. Almost screwed up there. I don't see another comma. This one's going to be a weird one. So let's give it a read. Cedar Preserve, which is regarded as one. This is not telling us one. Cedar features dense pine woods and a series of winding trails. Oh, so this is kind of a final four idea. We're not going to put a comma before him because it's a restrictive relative pronoun. My bad about that. Pause. I think there's going to be a complete sentence on the other side. Regularly practicing a musical instrument can train the brain to change. Can again. This is the word of this series. In adults, to change. Whoa, this might not actually be the lone beauty. Regularly practicing can train the brain to change. In adults who start lessons at regions usually devoted to processing. Oh, no, just kidding. That was a fun, tricky one, though. Both, plural. I think this is going to be a weird game about the present perfect aspect, so I'll throw it on D. Hydrothermal vents are fissures on the seafoam which geothermally heated water comes from. That's going to be suspicious for a lot of people to think it's the past. You have found more about, cringe. Can we just pause for a moment on this? Cringe that it's just like, I don't want my time to run out. I don't even know what would happen, but cringe that it's like a textbook. Is analyze. Let's find our subject. Over the bridge. Whoa, what do we got going on here? Attention to bioacoustics is increasing thanks to pioneering studies by environmental researchers, many of whom is going to be plural, so it's going to be analyzed. Man, this odd man out thing is too good. But you always want to be checking and disciplined. I don't trust this little thing telling me that that's how fast you have to be all the time in order to get a complete sentence, but you do have to move at a tilt. So I'm going to look for another dash in the sentence. I don't see another dash in the sentence, therefore C and D are going to be equal. Let's assume that we're making a little bridgey-poo with it according. The balance of the patterns reflects. Yeah, we don't want to separate our subject from a verb with a lone comma, so it's the balance that reflects, so then I can't remember the letter. A falls. I like the way that looks right off the rip. Oh, just kidding. We have two beauties on here. For one, I think this one makes a little bit more sense as a transition. Throughout the struggle to improve labor conditions in the U.S., specific occurrences were instrumental. The establishment of the American Federation of Labor, for one. What is happening? Is that part of is another such occurrence? For one, is another such. Yeah, so it wouldn't make sense for one to be on it wouldn't make sense for one to be on the right side because of that such at the very end. So it's going to be this one as part of the colon side on the left. I am immediately going to be attracted to the semicolon because that would be kind of, in fellow, we have a name and a title, so we're just going to run D, X name title. These are going to be, even though they're pretty short, this is a misplaced modifier question for sure. On returning to the capital, Davis. B and C are making the exact same claim, and it is doing some sort of it cleft or like a dummy subject, so that doesn't count in there, never going to be it. I'm going to bias him. After installation, the temperature 10 feet below there was. We've got a complete sentence on the right, the temperature 10 feet below. We've got a complete sentence on the left. We love them buttes. Do we want this with it? No, that's a preposition, so B and C are going to fall. I think it's it's either going to be A or D. This person, architect, prairie style. Whoa, Frank Lloyd Wright's. Okay. His prairie style homes feature a distinct organic harmony. Prairie style homes with their low pitched roofs. The houses, yeah. So to inform my number here, I kind of went backwards, but we can ground it on the subject. The there is telling us that we are dealing with multiple of these things. I'm going to check the text for a semicolon. I don't see a semicolon. The immediate thing that stands out to me is C, because I think the other ones are separating a subject from a verb with a lone comma, because were is a verb. The intricate tapestries of textile artists and weaver Sheila Hicks were, yes. So we need tapestries to be connected to its verb were, and all of the other things are ruining that traditional relationship. This is going to be a misplaced modifier idea. Let's go to the start of the sentence. Set during. We want the story that's set during. I think the answer is going to be D, because B and C are going to be equal, but I'm going to check the text for a semicolon. Wow, this is a chunker. No semicolon, no semicolon, no semicolon, no semicolon, no semicolon. That means these two are equal. This right side, I'm just going to make sure that the right side is a complete sentence. Reflective coatings can also reduce, no. It's going to be A. Shade structures, we have to calm because I have to think for a moment. Shade structures help cool the surfaces of lots, while reflective coatings, which can also reduce. Yes. So the right side, what I was checking for on the right side with that while was if the right side was a complex sentence, 2 clauses, one dependent, one independent, then it would have to be the colon. But since there was just an independent clause to do colon and while is cringe, brother, brother. I'm assuming this is going to be the right answer because he's the oddest of odd men out here. He's the only one that can tell me when. Utilizing the principles of investors, these dudes refined and promoted the alternating current motor. Ooh, in order to form a system. Yes. And promoted the alternating current motor to form a system. In order to form a system that became the goal. In order to forming promoted the if it were B, that means that the thing on the right is being done by the thing immediately to the left. Then it's a reduced participial phrase. That doesn't make any sense. The and, we didn't have a list, and then the other one was a verb telling us when, or a past participle, which doesn't make any sense. Ooh, this is going to be very similar. What a fun reinforcement from a few questions ago. So first I'm going to check for a semicolon, just like last time. There isn't a semicolon. Oh, I mean, the colors of beaked whale has been recorded. For instance, this is the same thing. For instance, it's the same thing, and the while is showing the variation. How goofy. B and C were equal. A had the exact same consideration that I was making last time. Stands is going to be it. Get that speed. Oof. We've got 2 buttes. We're not going to use such as and a colon, but let's read it to make sure it's fine. Engineers are working to develop a new type of these sensor units. Detectors or devices. Ooh, hold on. Calm. Detectors are devices that register tiny amounts of cooled, which are... Oh, man. Pause for a moment. So it's certainly not A. Engineers are working... Let's read the whole thing here. This is an exciting question. Advanced telescopes depend on sensitive sensors to capture faint signals from distant galaxies. Engineers are working to develop a new type of these sensor units. Detectors or devices that register cool to extreme. Hold on, what? Oh, never mind. I don't know. I have no idea. I thought I was doubling up on a the there. So we couldn't have 2 nouns back to back, nominals back to back, but I kept reading a word that wasn't there. Back into the rhythm of these things, boys. I see a dash that's in the text. Let's read over the bridge. The extensive aquifers of replenish a phenomena called mountain front recharge. Oh no. I just messed up my thing because I was making sure I was still recording. Give me a second. Be cool, players. We have to drag him down. When I drag him to the bottom, he's not going to go full screen. He's going to cooperate, and everything is fine. All right. Let's reset. Everything's fine. Okay. Something went wrong with this video. I'd be a sad guy. So we're going to read over it. Man, there's a big bridge. Through a phenomena called mountain front recharge, where snow melt filters downward through the terrain to accumulate, specifically the fracture in the Great Basin, to accumulate in, yes, we read over the bridge, everything makes sense. Don't hit me with that -10. How disrespectful. Doesn't it know who I am? We have a common coordinating injunction, so we're going to treat him as the one beauty. These mechanisms were ultimately it. Many were standard throughout the mid-20th century, but these were ultimately superseded by personal computers. We have one lone comma there that contains thousands of distinct varieties of fungi. Maybe this is wrong. Oh, no. His rigorous genetic analysis was essential to the Park Service. Yeah, it's the lone man. The subject was all the way over there. I was just disciplined because I saw what a chunky sentence this was, so I figured it was in the hard section, so I didn't know if it was going to try to trick me. He's the odd man out, given the characteristic of neither, but we're going to read the sentence to make sure that we're in that forming the cause territory. Illinois native and architect Sarah Miller departed. Her post as head of the urban design department is at a prestigious to lead. Yeah, we want the one that does not tell me when because we do not have the opportunity to pick this. Is the Oort cloud is like similar? Yeah, we're going to throw ourselves into that. What a gift by saying have. All of those verbs told me when. Oof, these are not equal. We're going to take our time here. We'll plant our feet on planting. C, but we're going to check for a complete sentence. Planting deep-rooted subs on these either by planting, good. I like a complete sentence on the right. During severe storm, bear slows increasing. Yes, we have a complete sentence on by planting deep-rooted shrubs on these. Yes, but the by takes away the fact that we want our subject to be this. It changed it from a participle. Sorry, it changed it from a gerund to a participle, so we couldn't have that. I feel like I saw this exact question. Oh, no, just kidding. It's going to be one of these guys. The painter interpreted the landscapes of New Mexico in 2 distinctive paintings. In 2018, displayed together with O'Keeffe. Oh, I know this one. You can't have sum of 2, so the they is it, even though B and D are plural. Common coordinating conjunction, we're going to go for that. Most office workers in the United States don't stand up from their desks as often is recommended. But, what? Even though most don't stand up from their desks as often, many of these workers report fewer extended when they start to use reminder. I don't know. I'm trying to make sense of the but it doesn't really make sense, but it doesn't really matter from a semantic standpoint. I must have just missed something since I was reading really fast because to join 2 complete sentences, we obviously need that. I'm going to check the text for a semicolon. We've got a when at the start, so it's going to be the comma idea. Oh, good thing I saw this little comma here. Slow down, play. So we don't remember the semicolon, so A and D are equal. A and D are dead. When Pollock studied the resulting pattern, he realized that he favored the raw energy. Good thing I was disciplined. Man. Oh, that could have been a flub since I was just assuming the when was ending a dependent clause. Good thing I checked for that other comma that gave me pause. We've got B and D are going to be equal, so let's check the text for another semicolon. I don't see another semicolon, so that means that A and D are going to be equal, so I assume that it's going to be A. By what had commenced as a singular experiment link had blossomed into something far more complex. It was C is starting a complete. So I do have a complete sentence to the left, therefore I need to pick one that absolves me of this crazy little situation. That the outcome, this is probably going to be the right answer. That the outcome of the Battle of Gettysburg turned the tide was agreed upon by historians. Oh. I've seen this question before, but this is usually a colon in the cooler version of it. Determine the exact amount of this remain a subject. Yeah, we have a complete sentence on either side. This sentence is so much fun. We have a complementized clause, and even though the complementizer has a plural, oh no, it only has singular elements in there. That's a shame. It should have left it in its pure form. So I would imagine that these preppy questions, they just ran them all through ChatGPT and said, hey, bro, help me out. Make some questions like the questions you've seen. So he's the odd man out. A renowned American architect, that's describing him, is celebrated for his design of fall water, which achieved a harmonious, which achieves. Yeah, so we don't even have to choose. We just need a verb that tells us when, because which is starting a relative clause. Oof. Earl would watch from the riverbank. Are we asking a question to make it? For instance, the painting's swirling blushstroke represented the turbulent currents Earl would watch from the riverbank. That'd be cringe if I missed that one. Both, singular. I think it's going to be entered. By the time the settler James Bunker, it is. The population of Beaver originally had significantly declined. Absolutely. Singular, neither. It's probably going to be this. Botanically, the tomato fits the definition. However, the tomato is considered a vegetable. What a cringe idea. I need a verb that tells me when to have a complete sentence over there. It's not going to be B. It's doing this like cringe. I don't know why there are so many questions like this. I don't remember seeing any of them on real SATs. This is just like the other one. In American astronomer Edwin Hubble confirmed that galaxies exist by galaxies, which are a vast collection of stars dust held together by gravity. So yeah, the thing under load describes the thing before. Go back to that previous question so you can see the explanation for that guy. Eris, it's probably him. Okay, we've got 2 beauties. Do we have another one? Yes. So we do need one of them. So B and C are going to fall because this guy needs measure conditions at the edge of the measure conditions. Oh, geez. Falcon punch. Okay. So it does need a partner, but now I need to see kind of what's happening. The New Horizons probe was sent by NASA in 2006 in order to capture detailed images of Pluto and Eris, 2 distant icy worlds. Oh. Which are 2 distant icy worlds. Determine the bound. Yes, okay. 2 distant icy worlds determined, yes. It's going to be this one. 2 different icy worlds are describing anything before it in order to, this is where my parallel structure starts right here, in order to capture detailed images of Pluto and whatever, 2 distant worlds. To determine the boundaries of this and to measure. Absolutely. We are going to bias forged, but we're going to read this because it's a forming the clause idea. It was there that Douglas produced his most famous illustrations and forged. Absolutely. We've got a list of parallel structures, so we're just going to match those. Simple. Do I have a complete sentence on either side? This as is doing something weird. Substrate concentration influences the catalytic rate of enzymes. As substrate rate rises, so too does, we do have a complete sentence on the other side, so it's going to be Charlie. Give me that 16 hundo. Climbs, failures, mountains, efforts, the climbs, failure, man. Their effort, raven, man, both of these could be. Unfortunately, the climbs, failure, so it was just one climb. Attempted to, so we got a singular climb. This is saying plural possessive, this is saying plural, so it's going to be one of these two. The mountaineers, their effort, we've got two of them, the efforts of the mountaineers, so we've got B, tons of possession there, which is pretty darn exciting. This is going to be a misplaced modifier idea because we have a ton of stuff swapped around. Composed of an ultralight sponge-like matrix of silica. This would be saying that they are. The properties aren't. Aerogels has to be it. That's the thing doing the, having the characteristic of singular. They led. Wow, it's just a weird verb. I'm just going to be careful for a moment that nothing weird's happening. A botanist led a series of experiments to show that, yes, absolutely is this. It agrees with the subject and number. Generates, generating. I like generating as an initial choice because it's the neither. The system would trigger light signals and generate. So this is actually going to be parallel structure. The neither, I picked the odd man out, but the and is putting a list of things. This is a bare infinitive to link with the would. I like the way that with additionally. He's going to be a weird one, but it's certainly not going to be that one. As one of the leading, has contributed to research about how coral reefs thrive. Additionally, he has investigated this. We have a complete sentence on either side. Then we just want the classic one because that one that I biased, that shows a relationship between 1 and 2, but there were only 2 sentences. So that throws out the idea, right? When it's 1 and 2, it's when there's a 1, 2, and 3, not just when there's not just when there's 2. I'm going to bias D, look for a semicolon. I don't see a semicolon, therefore there are no equals. I'm going to bounce over to this colon. The first man to win an Olympic gold medal in swimming for the United States. Oh, so this is a clause initial adjunct. We've seen him once already. Mark Reynolds sent. So we want a comma for this clause initial adjunct. I like the way that this is looking. The as is probably doing exactly what it was doing before when it was by, I think is it. Because it could be a preposition as well, but it could be a subordinated conjunction, so we want to be disciplined. In professional chess tournaments, players typically won't converse with the spectators, as to do so contradicts the regulations, which are a strict code of conduct designed to maintain silence. Ooh, A and D are wrong. Let's read this with B plugged in to make sure everything's fine there. So we don't have a complete sentence on the right side, as to, so they both fall. In professional, one converse with the spectators. To do so, comma, to do so contradicts doing, to do so. To do so, oh, just kidding, it is this one. To do so, that's so unfair. It's just like that one with the colon. The mandolin, is going to be our answer. Subject is mandolin. Colon here. Today, the structure stands as an engineering marvel because it can be, we have a complete sentence on the other side, so the lone beauty is going to be it. We've got collide. Let's find our subject. When tiny fragments is our subject. Gorgeous. Come on. I'm cooking now. Original. Whoa. Why is it capitalized? So it's not going to be this. It's making a little bridge. Jordan Peele's horror film Get Out, which is his, I'm reading in a rich, his directorial debut and winner of Academy Award for Best Screenplay. It examines, Get Out examines, so we want the bridge, no list of this, we don't want that thing, absolutely. My bias is going to be for him. For instance, these towns are now completely extinct. For instance, the deserted mining town of Bodine, California is often society. Yes, I have a complete sentence on either side. I am going to check for another not a semicolon, whatever that thing is that I've clicked. The big dash, B and D are therefore equivalent. I think I saw a comma, so I'm going to bias C for now. Her design for the Vietnam Veterans Memorial features polished granite walls inscribed with the names of fallen soldiers, while her 2013 installation, The Ripple of a Pond, uses, we don't want to separate our subject from a verb with a lone comma, so he falls. The while was starting a subordinate clause, has, permit, that's the odd man out. These optical methods, absolutely, is that going to be the case? I like the way that this looks because I'm going to check for situated in the southern United States, Louisiana, a state famous for its jazz heritage. I don't know what accent that was, right? Forgive me. Forgive whatever that was. These elaborate displays have earned the Corn Palace. It is nicknamed, the Corn Palace is singular. That's going to be it. I took off the 2 contractions in that moment, and it was easy to just read and remember it. Singular, both. Let's go for will this time, because last time we did past. The dwarf planet travels around the sun in an unusually stretched out orbit, such that it attains a maximum distance many times greater than Pluto's average difference from the sun. I didn't find I read all the way to the end because if I would have found a subordinate clause there of some sort, then I would have been pulled to the progressive aspect. But since there wasn't, I didn't. There's none in the sentence, so those two are the same. I think we're in our subject verb. Just kidding. These are some of the clearest traces of is describing this. Whoa, this question was ticking down for me. Gatsby. Wow. Let's take the full 52 on this one. In my younger and more vulnerable years. It shouldn't say observer. It should say gigantic coward. Nick Carraway. Recollections which are reflectively shared by the book's observer. The book's observer. He's so cringe. So there aren't multiple books of C and D falls, right? I already have my answer, but let's talk through it. There's a singular book, so B is the right answer, but it's not a singular reflection for that same reason that I said before. The Great Gatsby is the greatest thing ever written, but you already know this. Let's move forward. Both, singular, both. Last time I thought it was going to be past, and it wasn't. Let's do this modality, repeated action in the past, possibly. Each night, it is. The source of light is the honeycomb tower structure built from 1,000. This is the past participle, which is built, right? But we're in the present. A bulb within the tower brightens is going to be our answer here. We've got two beauties. I'm going to check for a semicolon. A study published by these people offers this. Oh, sorry, I don't know why I'm reading. I'm looking for a semicolon. Sorry. I meant to click C. I looked for a semicolon. C is not there. C and D are equal. Then it's probably going to be B. A study which was published. So here's my subject. We're reading over this phrase. A study published by the University in So a study offers a new explanation for the source of the galaxy signals. Source of the galaxy signals. Series, tens, pulses, energy. Oh, yeah, of course. I'm doing the exact same thing that I was doing a few questions ago. It's as if there was a the there, but we can't have a positive thrown in like that. Singular. So this is probably going to be our subject. The highly reactive magnesium-based compound, which is used in order to combusts without warning if it's exposed to moisture, leading to, we have our subject is compound. That's going to be it. On man out. Gorgeous. Plural, singular. This. Crater is our subject. Nice. Ooh, name title. It's going to be her. In a recent cognitive psychology, we don't separate our subjects from verbs. Easy every time. This is going to be our answer. In government centers developed however, imposing samples are notably imposing examples of the style. Yeah, we have a complete sentence on the right. Let's check the left side. In historic residential districts, including those in England, such buildings are scarce. Absolutely. We have a complete sentence on either side. We've got name and title again as they observe. Let's just pause for a moment because there are a lot of commas in this environment. As they observe, yeah. So we have an aside, or we have an attributive phrase, you could call it, right? A said phrase. Let's check for a complete sentence on the other side. Many feature a short phrase engraved on these description often reflect. We have a complete sentence on the other side, so he's going to be the answer. Singular, plural. Boo, we like the way that he looks. This is a big, chunky sentence, so let's take our time. We got a colon down there at the end, but that's inside of a... Okay. The inquiry into what? The inquiry into what algorithmic structures enable these distinct and arguably what ethical boundaries should limit their applications in society animates the inquiry into, wow, is it really going to be this? The inquiry into what, and arguably, this is an aside. So yeah, we want the singular subject inquiry. Bars. Oh man, I wish I would have gone back one. I'm pretty sure that was the odd man out idea as well, not my robust ability to find. We've got singular, both, singular, past. We've got only this one in the present, so we'll consider him an odd man out. Let's get this a read. Was representing the film when she flew to Chicago on a business trip and watched early test footage of this person tours, persuaded, which quickly sold out. Yeah, so we're just going to pick the simple, what's pretty, which quickly. We don't have, oh, geez. You always want to pick the simple aspect, as I said, unless you can find something else in the sentence that moves you towards something else. I'm going to check the text for a semicolon. This is what I was thinking that other one was. When viewed up close, this, however, is here. Then the when is also ending its clause here. The work revealed themselves to be, there's no semicolon, therefore C and D are out. So now, whoa, this was an insta-solve. My bad, I was so cringy. I was just having so much fun diagramming sentences in my mind. But semicolon, you check, it's not there. C, D are equal. A is the only one that could be a right answer if it were a list of three, and it's not a list of three, and then you're done. That's an insta-solve, right? My bad on that lack of strat application. We are going to check our text for a semicolon. I don't see a little semicolon, therefore we don't have a therefore. I'm going to check for a complete sentence on the left, because if so, then A and D fall. By connecting the eastern and western lines at Salt Lake City, so connecting is not a verb that tells me when, so A and D are going to fall. I don't have a closed parenthesis, so C is the right answer. I've never seen them. They used to care about open and closed parentheses, but man, it's been a hot minute. Already performs was already, both, singular, both, already performs. Maybe it's going to be this. Miles Davis already performs professionally and toured, already performed and toured, had already formed when he wrote. So it's that things kept going. I imagine there was going to be, this is the kind of phrase I was talking about when you pick the any other aspect other than simple. We've got this big dash. I don't see another dash. Therefore, B and C are going to be equal choices. I think it's this one because it feels like we're in the middle of the list. These artworks brighten areas such as schools, bus stops, and community parks. I know that it's not school bus stops because a common NN needs a list of 3. So that guy informed my previous choice. Drives to drive, driving, drive. I think it's going to be drives because it's the odd man out. Although elk prefer to graze on grasses and open meadows, those food sources can be buried under snowdrifts. Ooh. So we aren't going to be this one, which driving. Although they prefer to this, so this is our dependent clause, those food sources can be buried under snowdrift. Driving, yes. So we need the clause final participles with commas, mean the subjects of the clause preceding it are doing the action of. In order to would be a weird justificatory clause. It's always going to be, when you get this capital, or I'm going to say always, but then I guess I could be wrong at some point. It's going to be one of these two things. If the subject is doing the action of the verb, it's going to be this one. Last time was this one, so let's hope it's this one. The compact negotiated by officials. Yeah, so we're in passive voice immediately. We've got this by. It's going to be him. Come on. Having, containing. These odd man out. It's probably going to be him. One variety, whatever this thing is, contains exceptionally large crystals formed in the final stages and a chemical. Yeah, so I just read the whole thing because given the weird little comma things, I thought it was going to be a weird formula clause like a late game one, but it wasn't one of those. So asking a question to make, is it reflected on how poor planning influences academic performance? So I'm making a statement. We've got another misplaced modifier. I feel like I did this one. A distinguished expert. This is the only one giving me the distinguished expert as my subject. They thought it's... I hope it's... Oh, sorry if that was loud. I don't think it's ever going to be this one, so I'm not even going to read him. Did they survive? They survive such... How do they survive such intense pressure? It was asking a question, subject, auxiliary, inversion. I wish I could highlight in this, so because that even helps me on these ones. So I see multiple semicolons, so I need this game of the list. It seems to be year than this, so it's going to kiss the year at the end as the answer. But now we're going to take a moment to make sure. If I were taking this on the real one, I would highlight a quarter policy in 2016, a research database, urban data in 2014. Yeah, it has to be after the year. The final one establishes this, but wait. Yeah, it's going to be him for sure. Sucks to not be able to highlight. That's a genuinely clutch feature. I think it's going to be either it or they. Since we is there, I would assume it's going to be it. When drivers use the app to save the directions, they were able to better recall the routes than routes they did not save using the app. I don't... Pronoun ambiguity? Who today is? I don't care. Buffering shorelines. Conclusions don't do this. Dollars don't do that. Forests do that. Do the buffeting like it's a Pokemon skill, man. We're in Pokemon Emerald. We got our goggles, so we're going up there to catch Reggie Rock. With thousands of spectators. Just kidding, I'm not reading. That's lame. I'm looking for another dash. I see another dash. I'm now going to read to see if I can get over hey, don't count me down. This bug, man. Whew. With thousands of this little fly. With thousands of spectators, the international exhibit of put some beautiful women in the MoMA. The international exhibit of modern art became, we're absolutely reading over the bridge. The thing below it is an antithetical or a descriptive element describing the thing before it. This is going to be my odd man out. Let's find our subject. A mural featuring was the centerpiece. Yes, a mural is our subject. Let's look at the text for this. The building represents, absolutely. We're reading over that bridge. Oh, dang. Semicolon. There isn't another semicolon. So the beauty thing would have, I've never seen anything like this. How exciting. So, do I have a complete sentence on the right side? I like looking there first with semicolons, but we're located outside, not a complete sentence because I don't have a subject. So it's certainly not D because there isn't another one. Then, is it possessive? It should give me the word here that we're describing. Then, this thing is off the table. Demonstrating that these nebula were located, it's not even a mix-up. Dang, I thought it was going to be something where I had to think between these two, but whatever. We don't possess nothing, so A and D are immediately going to be off the table. Then I want to know how many pistons I'm dealing with. A damaged piston, the pistons rings. We got a singular. Oh my God, I'm saying we got a singular piston. Oh my God. I said it. Look, hey. I don't count that, right? I said we have a singular piston. I said it, right? This is redacted that. Oh, man. I'm a fraud. I can't believe I did that. I said piston. I said, and then I clicked plural piston. But I don't know what to do. So I'm doing this because I'm not going to do those questions and pretend like I haven't seen them before. And I don't want to just not post the video because I screwed up and that's embarrassing. And you guys should know. You guys should see how embarrassing that was. On that one too, like not even a blind pick of a strat saying piston. If I'd even clicked piston because I saw piston in the text and I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. And this is a formal apology. Look, listen. I'm sorry that I'm a fraud. Who can't even... And I'm never looking at those questions again. They were dumb, right? Maybe I do a little walkthrough and I use them to dominate and explain the Omega considerations on the things, but that should show that they do mirror closely a lot of the SAT style questions, at least the ones that are on Blue Book. So the strats work. They work quickly, and they work even when I'm trying to like talk them out loud and explain certain parts at times. But the efficacy of them, I think, has been proven. The absolute fraudulence of me, though, that's another thing that's been shown. Shameful. But we sit in our shame sometimes, right? We deserve that. We hold that embarrassment. And proudly we say, hey, I missed that question, right? I missed it. Because it happens. God, it's so embarrassing. And I'm just like letting this ride out because it's so embarrassing. But I'm not doing it again. Like, I'm not going to record this whole thing and pretend like I didn't just do 100 and whatever questions. Okay. Well, at the end of the day, I'm still me, and that's pretty cool.